Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, I want to share something deeply personal about my journey with From Software's Souls games and how they've impacted my life in ways I never would have expected. My journey with Souls games started back in 2016. I was only 17 at the time, in my senior year of high school, and had just unwrapped a brand new PlayStation 4 that I received for Christmas. When I had a job and deeply focused in my studies, my game choices were pretty limited. One day, we wandered into a local GameStop, me and my mother, and I was thrilled to pick out a game for my new console. Now, like most of my friends, I was tempted by the hype of GTA 5 and the new DLC that had released at the time. But then, something else caught my eye. A game that had sparked a mix of curiosity and excitement. It was Dark Souls 3. Before I even picked up the game, I had already heard the legends of the game's brutal difficulty and the challenges it and the rest of the Souls games had presented. But at the last moment, I decided to take the plunge and picked up Dark Souls 3 instead of GTA 5. For the next 2 months, I was completely absorbed in the world of Dark Souls 3. Every corner of its dark, intricate world was a new adventure, and the challenges were, dare I say, relentless. The art style was mesmerizing, and the attention to detail was unparalleled. It was truly an immersive, almost magical experience for me. But what I didn't realize at the time was how profoundly this game would influence my life. Now, to give y'all a little bit of background, I had been grappling with depression since I was 11, and as the years went by, those feelings only deepened. By the time I reached 21, I had even contemplated ending my own life. I often felt isolated, like nobody could truly understand me, and I was plagued by a sense of rejection and invisibility to the world. And while I'm not saying that Dark Souls 3 alone cured me of any of these things, it did become a pivotal force in shifting my perspective. It was a catalyst that helped me start to find my way out of the darkness. Now, years later, I often find myself returning to the Souls games, especially during my toughest times. The lessons of perseverance, beauty, and the unexpected bonds of friendship I discovered within these games have become a beacon for me in my darkest moments. So let's dive into how these seemingly harsh and unforgiving games taught me about resilience and hope, and why they truly hold a special place in my own heart. Die, try again, and die again. This is the mantra that any Souls players learns within the first 10 minutes of any From Software game, and I was no exception. My first real test came with Ludwig's Gundyr, the intimidating first boss of Dark Souls 3. It honestly took me around 50 tries before I finally managed to defeat him and gain entry to Firelink Shrine. To say I was frustrated would be an understatement. There were moments where I wanted to literally throw the towel and just walk away because I had never encountered such a daunting challenge in my entire gaming life. Games like Mario and Sonic seem like a walk in the park compared to the brutal test posed by Ludwig's Gundyr. Now, in hindsight, Gundyr's fight seems almost simple now, but at that moment, it was a baptism by fire into the unforgiving world of Dark Souls games. Completing Dark Souls 3 itself took me about 77 hours, and that's not including the additional challenges of the DLC. That was just the base game. Now, as I progressed, a realization kind of dawned on me. I pushed myself this hard in anything before. Not in school, not in my life. Academically, I was a decent student at best, but not because of any particular effort on my own part. I really only studied because my parents expected me to, and I think a lot of other people can relate to that. Not because I was motivated to excel by any means, except for math. Most subjects came pretty easily to me, but Dark Souls 3 was different. It demanded my full attention, unwavering effort. As I painstakingly learned the attack patterns of each boss and navigated the treacherous world, I noticed something. My in-game character was evolving and becoming stronger. And then I started to reflect on even my own life. So about halfway through the game, after I'd finally managed to beat Pontiff Sullivan, I remember sitting down, taking a break, and really taking a look at myself in the bathroom mirror. To be honest, I was overweight, I had neglected my hygiene, and I had a really ugly haircut. I realized that if I could commit so much time and effort to improve my own character in Dark Souls 3, then why the hell couldn't I apply the same determination to my own real life? Why couldn't I push myself to become a better version of me, just as I had done for my own character? At this point, I kind of started to question why I had never shown this kind of perseverance. in my social and academic life. I had never been confident or consistent enough to stick with anything before, yet here I was, dedicating an entire week of my life to mastering this game. If I could do the same thing in the virtual world, why not in the real one? So in a weird way, I saw myself in my own character, into the Ashen One. He started with nothing in a world that was out to get him and managed to get to the pinnacle of what is humanly possible. That itself pushed me to get a head start on things. I started working out the next day, and 6 months later, I had lost over 50 pounds. And I still work out to this day and attribute my inspiration to Dark Souls 3. My face cleaned up, and I finally started to somewhat accept my own body. Now, this part may seem a little weird, as beauty was not something I expected to find in the Souls series, let alone in the real world. Being overweight and rarely going outside, I always felt that only agony awaited beyond my own door, and in a way, Dark Souls 3 both reinforced and shattered my concept of the world. As any Souls player can tell you, everything is indeed out to get you in this game. Nearly every creature you encounter is out for your blood, indifferent to your thoughts or feelings. This, in some ways, mirrors the real world, where most people you meet won't really care about you, and some may even dislike you for stupid reasons that they made up. Some might even try to harm you, yet amidst this relentless hostility was a world that was, simply put, very stunning. When I first lit a bonfire on the high wall of Lothric, I literally had to pause and just stare at the scene before me. The distant castles, the dense woods, and the atmospheric details left me awestruck, and this sense of wonder continued with every new bonfire, every new area, and every new boss I had faced. Despite dying at least 50 times in each new area, I couldn't help but marvel at the meticulous detail the developers had infused into the game. Now fast forward a few months, I started venturing out a little bit more. I took long walks in nature and began to notice that while the real world also felt pretty hostile, the beauty and detail in our surroundings offered a sense of solace. I learned to appreciate the little things, the intricate carvings on wood, the vibrant colors that nature has to offer us, and even the unique features on people's faces. Though I and many others may find ourselves at low points in our life, it's crucial to stop for a moment and just take in the beauty of our world. The colors, the details, and the refreshing scents remind us that no matter how bad things can get, we can still experience the world in our own unique, beautiful way. However, exploring the world can be lonely if you're all by yourself. So yeah, most things in Soul games are hostile, and it's really up to you to make the best out of a bad situation. This definitely also applies to the real world, but humans are biologically social animals. Everybody, from those living off pennies all the way up to the richest people on the planet, need companions in order to make this journey called life meaningful. Without that companionship, people often succumb to their darkest thoughts, which, as we can see in the real world, can unfortunately often lead to tragedy. But it's often in the most unexpected areas that we find others who share our struggles and desires. Whether it be the lands between or the mesmerizing Anne Orlando, you occasionally will encounter NPCs with whom you cultivate a sort of friendship with. This is usually because you share a common goal or can do something for one another. This could simply be the wandering merchants you find in Elden Ring, or it can go as far as helping Ahri take down the evil Aldrich in Dark Souls 3. Either way, you begin to build what could be described as a friendship. Now you might be thinking, so what? NPCs are common in pretty much all games with similar goals. Well, yes, that is definitely true. It feels different in Souls series. There are a lot fewer of them, and you often find them while traversing dangerous areas. This, in a way, makes it feel more genuine, and in a lot of other ways can mirror real life. Because when we're young and in school, friends come to us easily for the most part. Even if you weren't the most popular, or were maybe even a bit weird, there was a good chance you'd find at least one good friend to keep you company. And for the most part, this is because you were both forced to be there. Now, as we age and get into our 20s and beyond, things can change a little bit. The big slap in the face called life comes, and many will often find themselves with few to no companions left after a certain time. Making friends is difficult because, in a way, everybody is going through their own journey. Raising a family, working hard at school or work, or just trying to stay afloat means that many do not have the same time nor interest in slowing down and socializing just for socializing's sake. The people I've managed to meet have all been on a similar journey as me, or often we find ourselves at the same place in our own individual paths. We bond over struggles and experiences. These connections are, in hindsight, quite rare to find as we get older. People care more about quality over quantity as they age. Nobody really knows what they're doing or how things will turn out. And the magic of meeting a companion in a Souls game and realizing that you are on the same team is a magical feeling that really kind of mirrors the experience of finding true friends in real life, and those are the people worth fighting for. So what's the real takeaway from this video? Souls games made me change and appreciate things I probably should have already appreciated to begin with? Maybe. But everybody learns and experiences life differently. You may have already learned these lessons through a parent or a friend. You might have been lucky enough to have someone to teach you the ropes and the confidence to push through situations. I know that myself and many others were not that fortunate. This is why so many people turn to the virtual world as a way to spend their days. Many people have mental or physical challenges that prevent them from truly living their lives, and our own world often feels so dark and hostile. It's refreshing to kind of just hop into a game and feel like you have at least a little bit of control. Video games, in many ways, reflect the real world and what could be possible. Min-maxing that intelligence build in Elden Ring or winning a multiplayer game all hint at what can be achieved. With From Software's games, it feels like more of a reality check than a feel-good escape. There are definitely feel-good moments, but you have to work hard and gain insight in order to reach them. Real life works the same way. Whether you start as a hero or a wrench, we all have a journey that we should enjoy, even if it means failing a lot of the time. Okay, now the actual video is over. I do just want to thank anybody who actually took the time to watch the whole video all the way to the end. This is not a topic that I really wanted to breach, but I thought it would be an interesting video for y'all. Next video should come a little bit sooner than next Saturday. I know I'm trying to get on like a Saturday, Sunday type of schedule, being that I still do work full time at another job. But next video will be a little bit shorter, and yeah, you guys should hopefully see it before Saturday next week. So again, thank you all so much for watching. It means the world to me, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your day.